Donald Trump says Iran's response could arrive tonight, but the Middle East now approaching in a breakthrough or the edge of something much bigger. That is the question right now, hanging over Washington tonight after the US President Donald Trump dropped a fresh hint about ongoing back-channel negotiation with Iran. Speaking outside the White House, Trump confirmed that America is waiting for an official Iranian response to the latest US proposal aimed at ending the escalation standoff. Now, his words were brief, but loaded. "We'll see what happens," Trump said. And that changed almost the rhetoric, because behind those few words lies a rapidly shifting geopolitical battlefield stretching from Tehran to Strait of Hormuz. For weeks now, tensions between the United States and Iran have been spiraling dangerously. Military threats, naval deployments, economic pressure, and constant fears that one wrong move could trigger a wider regional warfare. But now suddenly, the diplomacy appears to be re-entering the picture, at least publicly. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has indicated that Washington hopes Iran's response could now open the door for what he calls as a serious negotiation. However, the signals coming from the White House remains deeply mixed. Because even while talking about diplomacy, Trump also declared that Iran has no military left. He warned that the United States could escalate again if the talks collapse. So, which message should Tehran believe? The diplomatic one or the military one? And what were the things that became complicated? Well, at the same time, the Strait of Hormuz remains under extreme pressure. Global shipping routes are tense, the Western naval forces remain active in the region, and fears of disruptions to the global oil supply chains have not disappeared. Now, a pause in escalation is not the peace, and the negotiations are not an agreement. Trump himself hinted that Washington could even receive a Project Freedom in the controversial U.S. maritime escort mission in Hormuz, if the diplomacy fails. But this time, he warns that it could return stronger. Project Freedom Plus, as what he calls it. Short phrase, but big implications. Because it suggests that White House is preparing both tracks simultaneously, diplomacy and escalation. Perhaps that is a real story unfolding here. Not just where Iran says yes or no tonight, but whether Washington itself has fully decided the outcome it truly wants. Well, the timing is also very critical. Oil markets remain sensitive, Gulf nations are watching nervously, and Israel continues monitoring every single coming out of Iran. And the global powers like China and Russia are quietly calculating what a prolonged U.S.-Iran standoff could mean for the regional influence. Meanwhile, the Trump is simultaneously talking about Ukraine, troop movement in Europe, and ceasefire diplomacy elsewhere. Well, while the White House briefing, multiple global flashpoints were there. And yet Iran remains the most explosive variable. Because unlike the previous tensions, this moment now carries military fatigue, economic pressure, and the rising political stakes all at once.